Meghan Markle has always been a master at crafting her public persona, carefully shaping herself as the victim, misunderstood, silenced, and mistreated by both the royal family and the media. But a shocking moment of frustration may have just shattered that carefully constructed image. According to sources, Meghan Markle reportedly exploded in anger after The View delivered a stinging critique of her Netflix documentary, a project meant to portray her as the misunderstood Duchess. In a rare moment of transparency, Meghan allegedly said, "I hate that show," reflecting her deep frustration. But why such a strong reaction? And is this just the beginning of Meghan's image unraveling? For years, Meghan has positioned herself as a symbol of empowerment and personal struggle, using her narrative to gain sympathy from the public. But The View panelists weren't buying it. They picked apart her documentary, calling out inconsistencies and a tendency to focus heavily on portraying herself as a powerless victim. Meghan's series was meant to show her life's trials and tribulations, but instead, The View accused it of presenting exaggerated claims and one-sided stories. It wasn't just the royal family that bore the brunt of Meghan's critiques. The panel pointed out the glaring contradiction in her story, a contradiction that could mark the beginning of Meghan's downfall in the public's eyes. The debate began with Meghan's portrayal of her relationship with the royal family, where she repeatedly accuses them of neglect and cruelty. But what many viewers found hard to ignore was the lavish wedding, paid for by the British taxpayers, and the opulent lifestyle Meghan and Harry enjoyed while they were part of the royal fold. Given their privileged position, the View panelists raised a crucial question. How could Meghan claim to have been abandoned by the royal family when she had access to luxuries beyond the reach of ordinary people? The royal wedding, the glamorous estate they lived in. How do these facts fit with Meghan's narrative of victimhood? But Meghan's contradictions don't end there. One of the most glaring inconsistencies pointed out by the panel was her contradictory stance on privacy. Meghan has often stated that she desires a private life, away from the cameras and media frenzy. Yet, in nearly every instance, she has sought out the spotlight through tell-all interviews, documentaries, and books. If privacy were truly her goal, why does she continue to air her grievances on a public stage? This hypocrisy didn't go unnoticed. The View wasn't afraid to call it out, pointing out how Meghan continues to use her past struggles as a form of currency, making millions while claiming to want a simple life. But what makes this critique even more impactful is Meghan's reported response. Insiders claim that she was deeply upset by the criticism, feeling betrayed by the very platform she had once turned to for understanding. After years of meticulously managing her public image, Meghan's frustration is a sign that things may not be going according to plan. The Netflix documentary, once meant to solidify her role as an inspirational figure, has instead raised more questions about her true motives. Rather than garnering the sympathy she expected, it may have only made the public more skeptical about her intentions. Meghan's Netflix documentary was supposed to be her moment, to reclaim her narrative and solidify her position in the media landscape. Instead, it's become the very thing that's pushing her further away from the public she once had on her side. Industry insiders report that Meghan's reputation in Hollywood is also beginning to take a hit. Once seen as a rising star, Meghan is now described as challenging to work with, particularly because of her obsession with controlling her image. The Duchess, it seems, has become more focused on crafting the perfect public persona than on establishing herself as a true force in the entertainment industry. And it's all starting to catch up with her. What's even more troubling for Meghan is that the backlash from The View isn't an isolated incident. Critics are beginning to view her not just as a victim, but as a savvy manipulator who has used her pain and struggles as a way to stay relevant. Her image as a suffering, silenced woman is beginning to feel more like a carefully orchestrated narrative than an honest portrayal of her experiences. And this could have lasting consequences for her. The public is beginning to see the cracks in her story, and with each new media appearance, it becomes more difficult for Meghan to maintain the victim narrative she has worked so hard to build. But what's next for Meghan Markle? Will she double down on her victimhood and continue to fight for relevance in Hollywood? Or will she pivot and try to repair the damage done to her reputation. After all, this isn't the first time her public image has been called into question. Will she make the necessary changes to reclaim the narrative, or will the inconsistencies and contradictions continue to haunt her every move? This is a developing story, and as Meghan's public persona begins to unravel, all eyes are on her next move. Will she embrace the role of a media mogul, using her story to build an empire? Or will she finally step away from the spotlight and take the privacy she so often claims to desire? One thing is certain: Meghan Markle's saga is far from over, and the world is watching as she navigates the fallout from this latest controversy. Will she manage to regain control of her story, or has the tide finally turned against her? Keep watching, because the drama is only just beginning.